Donald Trump is officially the first former president of the United States in United States history to officially be criminally indicted by a grand jury. Yes, the New York grand jury has in fact voted in favor of pressing criminal charges against Donald Trump in connection to the hush money payments that were paid to Stormy Daniels in the lead up to the 2016 election.
Yes, you've probably heard the news by now, but Donald Trump, former president, has been criminally indicted by a Manhattan jury and is facing arraignment tomorrow, Tuesday, April 4th, where he will be allegedly arrested, fingerprinted, and handcuffed. We'll see if that actually happens. Now, there's still a lot that we don't know since the indictment was filed under seal, meaning it hasn't been publicly disclosed. But the speculation is that the indictment is centered around the series of felony hush money payments that was made to adult actress Stormy Daniels shortly before the 2016 election. And there's a lot of confusion around this case, and there's a lot of speculation and guesses and fear-mongering from the right-wing media. So we're gonna get straight into the facts, but we're also going to pose a really important question that the mainstream media is just not even talking about. And that question is, we know that Trump is guilty. There's like an irrefutable, indisputable amount of evidence showing that so, and I'll show you in a second. But the real question behind Trump's indictment is, do we allow elites, former presidents, and wealthy politicians in Washington, do we allow them to get special privileges and carve-outs for when they break the law? Or do we apply the law unilaterally to all American citizens under our Constitution, regardless of wealth and status? No American should be above the law. No one, just because you're wealthy, rich, powerful, a billionaire, or a former president, no one should be above the law. And unfortunately, we have a really bad track record of letting the rich and wealthy off scot-free. So hopefully that changes starting in 2023. So let me get to that evidence. The Trump campaign violated FECA, which is the Federal Election Campaign Act, which has strict guidelines for campaign expenditures where campaign expenses, personal expenses, cannot exceed a $2,700 limit on personal contributions. And the Trump campaign also forged a series of illegal hush money payments written off as legal expenses to Trump's attorney, Michael Cohen. So basically, what this is, the evidence is that the Trump campaign misrepresented their books to pay for the silence of a porn star so that they could hush a scandalous story that they didn't want to get out. And what you did was you violated the strict reporting guidelines from federal campaign finance disclosures under FECA, which is a felony that actually Michael Cohen, Trump's former attorney, already served prison time for, already admitted his guilt in Congress. He spent 3 years in federal prison for this exact crime at the direction of Donald Trump. He under oath, he was like, yeah, I was ordered to do this by Donald Trump. So who's to say that Trump's not guilty in this? Because if Trump's former attorney did this and he was taking orders from Trump, obviously that means that Trump is guilty as well. I know that facts hurt your feelings, but that is kind of what happened here. And let me get to this clip where Cenk Uygur of the Young Turks explains the different charges. Take a look.
So there's two different charges here. One is the state charge of fraudulent bookkeeping. That is when the Trump organization says, oh, I am giving this money to Michael Cohen for legal services.
Right.
Now, Michael Cohen has already testified that was not for legal services. That was for the hush money to Stormy Daniels, okay? That is a state law violation. The federal charge is about campaign finance violations. Again, Michael Cohen also got convicted of that because they clearly went around campaign finance law to pay Stormy Daniels because they were trying to keep her quiet before the election.
And
clearly related to the campaign.
Right, I mean, I'm sure most people know, but keep her quiet in regard to the affair that she had with Donald Trump. He didn't want that getting out there.
Exactly, and that affair happened only months after Melania Trump had just delivered their child, and it was just was among many affairs that Donald Trump had, and obviously they thought it would have been damaging, especially to his evangelical Christian base before the 2016 election.
Now, you might be saying, oh, well, this was just a minor bookkeeping error. This wasn't anything major, just, not following processes of disclosing campaign finances. Well, it's a little bit bigger than that. And the reason is, it's because of what he was trying to cover up. A huge scandal with a porn star paying her off for her silence in return. So, I'm going to read this piece from Popular Comms from David Legume, however you say it. He put it in way better terms than I ever could. And it's going to be right here, but I'm going to read it off on my computer over here. There's some basic rules about how federal campaigns operate. If you spend money to benefit your campaign, it must be publicly reported. If you run an ad, you must disclose that your campaign paid for the ad. The underlying principle of these rules is transparency. Voters have the right to know what you are saying and doing to get elected. If Trump is charged, it will be because prosecutors believe he violated the law in order to hide relevant information from voters. That's the key part, hiding relevant information from voters. Leading up to the 2016 election. After Election Day, Trump allegedly engaged in more crimes, including falsifying business records to cover up his actions. So that's the really, really big part. What was he trying to cover up with these illegal actions? Trying to cover up public information that would sway his base, sway the big chunk of American voters shortly before the election, doing these illegal moves to hide a scandal in order to steer the public perception of an election. So not only do you have the misrepresentation and the violations of campaign finance laws, but it was what he was trying to hide. And again, keep in mind that Trump's former attorney, Michael Cohen, already served time and pleaded guilty to this exact crime. Also, this is the way the system was designed by our founders, by James Madison, who wrote the Constitution. We have a separation of powers and checks and balances, where you have each branch, the legislative, executive, and judiciary, checking each other and holding each other accountable. So this is a perfect example of the judiciary holding into account the executive. And just for fun, I want to show some right-wing reactions to this Trump indictment. Naturally, they are going off the rails. Some of them crying on national television, some of them ranting.
Democrats are branding Trump as a criminal.
It's legally pathetic.
It's clickbait. It is an unbelievable abuse of justice.
Pure balderdash.
My heart is broken. I had some tears in my eyes.
Looking a little emotional. I feel the same way.
If you got a pile of crap and you chop it up 34 times, it's still a pile of crap. It's duplicitous charging. They're trying to smear the guy. They're trying to take cases that nobody else would take and resurrect them. This is literally legal voodoo.
And this criminal indictment does not prevent Trump from running for president in 2024. He's still seeking the Republican nomination. And the big question, I think, to a lot of people in media is, how is this going to impact the race? Is this going to be favorable to him? Is this not going to be favorable to him? Should we go after him in this criminal indictment? Should we not go after him since he's running for president? No, it doesn't matter his political ambitions. It shouldn't matter what his plans are, or if this makes him a martyr. Did the guy break the law or not? Evidence shows that he did. His attorney already went to jail for this, served 3 years in prison for this. So it's not about whether Trump is guilty or not. It's about whether we have a different standard of how we exercise consequences for people who are rich, wealthy, and powerful. We need to be focusing on consequences. We need to be focusing on the fact that politicians, rich, wealthy people in Washington seem to have a different standard of how they get off. They get special privileges, carve-outs for when they violate the law, but you and me, average Joe Schmoes, although I'm far from average because I'm amazing, but why is it that we actually get charged and have a different level of accountability than these rich, wealthy people? No, this kind of stuff needs to end in 2023. We need an equal application and equal standard of law. So my big question is, what do you think of this indictment? This is just what we know so far. As I'm recording this video on 6 p.m. on Monday. This is what we know so far. I'm sure that more is going to be breaking, but what do you think of Trump's indictment? Put it in the comments below. Do you think that there should be this equal standard of law amongst all citizens? Are you for letting Trump off? Are you someone that's going to protect, rich people and billionaires when they break the law? Are you going to protect that? Feel free to go do that, girl. That's your choice. That's your money. You want to donate to him, even though he didn't give any money to the January 6th rioters? Girl, go ahead. That's your choice. You do you, boo. But that's all we know so far. So thank you for joining me. My name is Scott Johnson. You can find more of me here on YouTube. You can also find me on TikTok, 62,000 followers, honey. And you can also find me on TYT's The Breakdown. That is where I post my long form content with the Young Turks. So you totally want to go check it out. Smash that subscribe button and I'll see you in the next video.